Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a beautiful ivy spring topiary. I'm going to be foraging for the items from my yard that I'll be using to create this topiary, but even if you needed to buy these materials, it's going to be very low cost. I had the snowdrops in my yard, I have lots of English ivy, and I have a big willow tree in my neighbor's yard that drops lots of beautiful branches. And of course I could have used one of my many pots that I already have, but do you remember these gorgeous urns that I found at Hobby Lobby the other day? Well, I went back and I bought a couple of them because they were just too gorgeous. And now I went to work on the table and little Ella had found this fresh from the dryer blanket and she was just enjoying it so much. I felt bad having to move her, but I just tucked her in the basket here with her big brother. Okay, so here's my urn and I've got some stones in the bottom for drainage and some potting soil. And I just want to mention that ivy is dangerous for cats, which is why I don't want Ella around when I'm working on this, and it's going to be in a location where they cannot access it. All right, so I'm starting with the willow twigs. All I'm doing is using them to gently shape a round-ish support for the ivy. And I didn't need any wire or other supports for this because you can use the pressure of the two pieces of willow as they push against each other to just grip and hold on to each other. My ivy is wet because I was soaking it in the sink to keep it nice and hydrated before working with it. I just pulled a whole bunch of different pieces and I'm picking some out as I'm working here, looking for roots because I want to make sure that I'm actually planting this, not just sticking it on the topiary. So when I'm holding it up there, I'm looking both the length and looking at where the root ball is or the root tuft is, and making sure that I'm going to be able to have enough space and room to tuck that down nicely into the soil so it can start to grow. I'm just pushing the ends lightly in between the willow. I'm not cramming them in there. And as I'm pulling this next piece, it was really long, so it was a little bit unwieldy, but I didn't want to trim it off. I wanted that nice length. And again, looking for that root ball and pushing it in deep. I am going to add some more potting soil over top, but again, I didn't want to be pulling it out as I was working with it, so that's why I'm tucking it down. And there's no special way to do this. You just wrap it around the willow or whatever support you're using. Be careful not to yank it out like I almost did there. Something that's so nice about crafts like this is they're meant to look a bit wild and woolly. They are not meant to look perfect or super neat. So if things are kind of sticking out here and there, it actually just adds to the charm of the piece instead of being something that you need to correct. And I'm reminding myself of that as much as I'm reminding you. Now this big piece here, I started to pull it through to wrap it around and realized that, wait, actually I think I want to do something different with that. So you're going to see me shake it out and kind of leave it there. I'm done with this other ivy, so I want to make sure I get it picked up and tucked away in this box, and I'm just going to wipe the table off. This table's not in the best shape, but I still don't want water needlessly sitting on the surface there. Okay, now I'm going to add in my snowdrops. I picked a few bits of leaves and things off that were stuck in there. And I'm not worried about bringing things inside right now. The ground has been very cold. And if anything does sort of travel in on these plants, they were growing in the same area, so it wouldn't be anything foreign to these particular plants. And this is going to be in a room where I don't have any other houseplants at the moment, so I'm not worried too much about any pests. So now I'm going to add some more potting soil to the top here. Make sure there's enough soil depth to keep these plants happy. Tamping it down for good contact with the roots. And then now I'm going to take this big long piece. I'm going to take this big long piece and wrap it around the base of the topiary here. And you're going to see me kind of pushing the piece of ivy between the willow and the edge of the urn because I wanted to tuck it down in there. And then I'm going to take the end, I'm going to point this out to you. I'm going to take the cut end. It puts out roots on its runners, and we can take advantage of that by tucking that freshly cut end down in the soil and letting it grow some roots there and just take up some moisture from the soil as well. When you work with plants like this that have just come in from the outside and been uprooted, they are going to be a little bit shocky the first couple days, so I'll make sure that I give it some good misting and of course water it well. Not overwater it, but water it well because the house is still pretty dry. I love this little watering can. I'll link it below for you. It's very small. It has a great little rosette on the end. And here's a little bit of an up-close view of how this turned out. I just love it. I think it looks so expensive, and it was, to me, free because I had everything already on hand to use to make this. Again, this shouldn't cost you much at all if you pick up a little pot of ivy and maybe a hyacinth bulb or something like that to tuck in there. And I'm sure you have a beautiful pot or maybe a tureen or something that you could use to create this in. Now I've got to show you, at my feet is little girl. She got up from her nap and she is bringing me her ball. Well, I mean, I'm calling it a ball, but you got to see this thing. She breaks these on purpose by throwing them down the stairs as hard as she can. And then she brings me these pieces that she wants me to play with. I buy them by the bagful, and she does it over and over, busts them open and plays with them like this. I do make sure to check them and make sure that they are not super jagged on her little mouth. I don't want her to get hurt, but oh, she's just too funny. She really wanted me to throw it for her, but I wanted to wash my hands really well before picking this ball up after handling the ivy. And here she is sitting behind me in my editing chair while I was editing this video. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.